This video is going to show you how to create a wheel for a bicycle. Now you may ask, why do I want to see a wheel for a bicycle? But normally what we would do in this unit is elevate the complexity of our drawings, and one of the first things we tackle beyond the basic shapes is a bicycle. And in doing this, we're going to learn how to use the array tool, the polar array tool, the mirror tool, and we'll use other tools we're already familiar with, such as drawing our lines, drawing our shapes, using trimming, using offsetting. So we're going to start with drawing one of these wheels. So our goal eventually is to get to the point where we have a bicycle frame with two wheels, and we have our back cogs and our front cogs, and we also have a chain. So in doing this, we're going to start with one wheel, and I already have one drawn, and you'll see that this is inside the title block, which is the same title block I've used for all of my other drawings. This title block is 400 units wide by 250 units tall, and it really doesn't matter where you place these wheels, but if you want to follow along with my tutorial exactly, this wheel right here is centered at 250, 100. So that's 250 units over, 100 units up, and the radius of this wheel is 50 units. Okay, so you can use that information to get your wheel set up. And it doesn't matter if it's exact, as long as it's pretty reasonably close, you'll be able to follow through just fine. So, first thing we're going to do is draw a line from the center of our wheel all the way up through the top. So I have my O-snap turned on, and on that O-snap I can identify the center of the circle, and then I'll draw my line straight up through 90 degrees. Okay, so that's our starting point. Now this line is going to be erased later, but for now it's just simply a guideline to identify the top center of the wheel. So the next thing I want to do is draw 3 circles. And it doesn't matter what size these circles are in terms of their accurate measurement, but I'm going to draw the first one about that size, fairly small and in the center, and it's going to act as the hub of the wheel, where all the spokes come in and connect. I'm going to draw a second circle from that same starting point. And this one I'm going to make quite a bit larger. So it's going to go up and stop right about there. And that spacing is going to be the spacing that's going to represent the rubber of the tire. So this part right here is the actual rubber wheel. And I'm going to draw one more line, one more circle, sorry, from my center point. And this one is going to come up, and I'm going to have to turn my O-snap off to finish this one. So 2 clicks and that turns off. And this wheel, or this line, is going to end up just inside the others. Oh, I didn't turn my O-snap off there. Just inside this smaller one. And that's going to represent the metal rim of the wheel itself. So at this point, I'm going to zoom in so we can see this in a little bit more detail. So I'm going to choose my zoom window. And I'm going to drag around my wheel. There we go. And now I'm going to start by drawing the treads. So you see the big tread on the outside. So I'm going to select my rectangle, and I'm going to come up here and I'm going to draw. Oh, I need to turn my polar off. Let me turn that off so it doesn't snap to specific angles. And I'm going to draw a rectangle right about there. So what I want to do is trim the bottom of that away. So I'm going to come over to my Modify menu. I'm going to take my Trim tool. I'm going to hit Return. And then I'm going to click on the pieces I want to go away. So I want that piece to go away, I want that piece to go away, and I want that bottom line to go away. So I'm just left now with the top portion of that rectangle. So now we can actually jump in and try the polar array. Now I want to repeat that pattern all the way around my wheel, like you see on the little portion on the left. So I'm going to go back to my drawing tool and select Array. So when I select Array down on my command line, it's going to ask me to select the objects that I want to array. So I'm going to move up to my tread pattern, select it, And you'll see it will turn dotted, and I'm going to hit return or enter, depending on your keyboard. And then I want to choose polar array. So when I choose polar, the first thing it asks me to do is specify the center point of your array. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to specify this exact center point. Now again, I'm going to need to turn my OSnap back on to get that exact center point. So there it is now. So I click on it. And when I do that, it gives me more options along the bottom. So the two options that I need to pay attention to are fill angle. So I click on fill angle, and then I tell the computer that I want to repeat this pattern around a full 360 degrees. So I type in 360 and hit return. Then I'm going to go to items. I click on that option, and I tell the computer that I want 30 items repeated through my 360 degrees. So I type in 30, and I hit return. And there I have that shape that I created repeated around the entire circle, rotating around that center point a full 360 degrees, and I have 30 of them. So I'm happy with that. So I hit return to finish that. And now I'm going to do the second process, which is taking this little piece of tread here that you see and just repeating it all the way around. So I'll do something very similar. I'm going to take my rectangle tool. Let's zoom in a little bit here. Okay, I'm going to draw another smaller rectangle. And I'm going to take away the bottom part of that with a trim. So I choose my trim tool, I hit enter, and I'm going to turn my object snap off because I want to click right in the center, and I want to hide that piece right there. So now what I need to do to make this look like it's fitting on the wheel, I'm going to rotate this a little bit. So notice I didn't draw it right here. I want this tread offset from these, so I've moved it over, but now I need to rotate it. So I'm going to choose my rotate, and that's under my modify menu. I'm going to select this object. There we go, and hit return. Now it's going to ask me to specify a base point. It really doesn't matter where you click. I'm going to click right in the middle, and then just pull off, and when I move my mouse, you'll see my object rotating. So I want to rotate it around so the top part of that tread looks like it matches the angle of the wheel. So I'm just going to drop it down a little bit, and I'm happy with that. So I'm going to hit return, and my rotation is finished. So now what I'm going to do, you may be able to hear my dog barking in the background. That's awesome. I'm going to zoom back out a little bit. And zoom back in so I can now see my center point, and I will run that array tool one more time. So I go to draw. I choose array. I'm going to select my object like it says on the command line. Hit return. I'm going to select polar array from my command line. Now it tells me to specify the center point of my array, so I need to be accurate with this, so I turn my OSnap on. I click on my center. I get my array options showing up. So I want my fill angle. So I click on fill angle and tell it I want a full 360 degrees. Enter. How many items do I want? I click on items, and again I want 30 items. Enter. And there we go. So there I have finished the first part of my wheel. I have got treads on my tires all the way around. So I'm going to stop this video right here and let you perfect that part first. And there'll be a second part to this video in which I'm going to create the spokes.